Today we're going to check out your favourite SummerSlam events. Like before, I asked you guys to vote for your favourite so we can get away from using cage match rankings, and I just think it's better if we use ratings from actual channel viewers. Last time we looked at WrestleMania, and the top Mania events that you guys selected was much better than the top Mania events that were ranked on cage match, in my opinion. So let's see if you beautiful people pulled it off again with SummerSlam. Exactly 3,700 votes were casted, so again we have a large number of responses to get through. You're going to see that SummerSlam events from different eras made it into today's video, so let's get started with the event that ranked in at number 10. At number 10, it's SummerSlam 2013 from the Staples Center in LA. 89 votes were casted for this one, and yeah, this was definitely a memorable and pretty stacked SummerSlam card. It started with a Bray Wyatt vs Kane Ring of Fire match before moving on to the Battle of Rhodes Scholars, Cody Rhodes vs Damien Sandow. We then had matches such as Brock Lesnar vs CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio vs Christian for the World Heavyweight Championship, but what many fans remember was the main event, Daniel Bryan vs John Cena. The build up to this one was excellent, with Daniel cutting a scathing promo on John where he said the champ was a parody and John wasn't a real wrestler. That promo really stuck out for me in the run up to SummerSlam. Daniel was able to beat Cena and become WWE champion, but a dramatic Money in the Bank cash-in followed where the special referee Triple H turned heel and Randy Orton ended up leaving the event with the WWF belt. It was a very entertaining end to a very entertaining SummerSlam, and I'm glad this one made it in today's video. Next up, it's the inaugural SummerSlam event from 1988 live from Madison Square Garden. 93 people who voted felt it didn't get any better than the original, and indeed it is a classic. Who could forget the Ultimate Warrior surprising everyone and ending the Honky Tonk Man's historic Intercontinental title reign while the New York fans went completely crazy? Who could forget Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage, the Mega Powers, joining forces to take down Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant, the Mega Bucks? People have a lot of nostalgia for these two matches alone, but don't sleep on some of the other tag team matches that happened at this event. It opens up with a brilliant British Bulldogs versus Fabulous Rougeaus battle that goes to a 20-minute time limit draw, and there's also a Hart Foundation versus Demolition tag team title match that's definitely worth your time. At number 8, with 101 responses, it's SummerSlam 2001 from San Jose, California. This is an interesting SummerSlam event that takes place in the middle of the Invasion storyline. Some would say that this event is better than the Invasion pay-per-view that aired a month prior. For the most part, this event centered all around WWF versus Alliance matches just like Invasion, but the match quality, in my opinion, was much better at SummerSlam. There's a ladder match between the Alliance's Rob Van Dam and the WWF's Jeff Hardy for the hardcore belt that's absolutely brilliant. We get to see Diamond Dallas Page and Chris Kanyon team up to take on the Brothers of Destruction inside a steel cage. Kurt Angle, representing WWF, took on Alliance leader Stone Cold Steve Austin in a fun WWF title match, and the show ended with The Rock, a WWF guy, winning the WCW Championship when he defeated Booker T. This SummerSlam event has no fillers. Everything at the show ranges from good to excellent, so if you ever decide to go back and watch the Invasion pay-per-view, make sure you follow it up with SummerSlam 2001. For my money, you'll probably have a better time with SummerSlam. At number 7, it's a very recent SummerSlam. Actually, it's the most recent SummerSlam as of the recording of this video. SummerSlam 2022 from Nashville, Tennessee. 124 votes came in for this show. It was an event that drew a lot of attention due to Vince McMahon's short-lived retirement, and people were tuning in to see if there would be a noticeable change in the creative direction of the show. And yeah, SummerSlam 2022 did feel different from the shows that preceded it that same year, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Fans welcomed the new direction WWE was going in terms of creative. During the run-up to this SummerSlam, the behind-the-scenes business side of WWE was much more newsworthy than the stuff happening in the ring, but Triple H and the other guys in creative did a great job of bringing the focus back to the squared circle. Someone else who brought focus back to the squared circle was Brock Lesnar. The Beast only went and lifted the thing up with his tractor at the end of the show, giving fans in the arena and fans at home a visual that looked absolutely incredible. I mean, it's only a tractor lifting a wrestling ring up, but when you see something so familiar in a completely different state like this, it kind of makes your eyes widen and it makes you go, holy shit, this is incredible. Hard to explain, I know, but in short, it looked great and it's a SummerSlam moment that'll get replayed for years and years. Away from the Brock Lesnar vs Roman Reigns main event, fans also witnessed Liv Morgan defeating Ronda Rousey, the Mysterios took on Judgment Day, and Logan Paul surprised everyone with his athleticism in a match against The Miz. While I do think there are better SummerSlam events in terms of bell-to-bell action, this event is remarkable because at the time, it marked what we all thought was a changing of the guard. Times were supposed to change and maybe, just maybe, the WWE could get back on track. At number 6, it's SummerSlam 1991, 152 votes. Again, this one comes from Madison Square Garden, and again, it featured a Hulk Hogan tag team match in the main event spot. Hogan teamed up with the Ultimate Warrior to take on the Triangle of Terror, with Big Sid Justice serving as the special referee. The main event was billed as the match made in hell, but I and many others thought the match made in heaven that followed made SummerSlam 91 a lot more memorable. Yes, SummerSlam 91 didn't end with a wrestling match, it ended with Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth's wedding. And no, us wrestling fans aren't big softies, but don't you dare say anything about Randy and Elizabeth or you'll pay the ultimate price. Savage and Elizabeth get a pass every time. In all seriousness, it's actually incredible how the match made in heaven is so fondly remembered by wrestling fans, seeing as it's a wedding ceremony, and wedding ceremonies in wrestling don't have the best track record for being entertaining, but it just goes to show how fans gravitated towards the Macho Man and Elizabeth. I think if you tried to do this again in the last 15 minutes of a pay-per-view, you'd see many fans leave their seats so they could beat traffic, but everyone stayed in Madison Square Garden and they witnessed one of the most fondly remembered moments in SummerSlam history. Earlier in the night, fans also got to see an absolute bona fide classic when Bret the Hitman Hart defeated Mr. Perfect for the Intercontinental Championship. This match has become a study piece for wrestlers in training and a tool used by trainers to show their students when teaching the art of pro wrestling. So that pretty much says it all, really. It's a very, very good match that shows Curt Hennig at his absolute best, even though he was working with a bad back. You get it all here with technical wrestling, showmanship, high drama, and a crowd that was on the edge of their seats from bell to bell. Bret vs Perfect at SummerSlam 91 is definitely in discussion for the greatest IC title match of all time, and if you haven't watched this one for some reason, then I'd highly recommend checking it out ASAP. 183 of you guys voted for SummerSlam 1997, so Hart Soul takes our number 5 spot. Coming from East Rutherford, New Jersey, SummerSlam 97 features a Bret Hart vs Undertaker main event, and Shawn Michaels served as the special referee. The ending to that match was wrestling storytelling done right. It was so simple, yet it opened up a lot of new paths for the WWF and its main event superstars to travel down. When Shawn Michaels accidentally hit The Undertaker with a steel chair, and when he had no choice but to award his nemesis Bret Hart the victory, it created one of the biggest domino effects in WWF history that would go on to shape many aspects of the company for years to come. Shawn Michaels would turn heel and form D-Generation X. The Undertaker would seek revenge by challenging HBK to 2 In Your House matches, the second of which was the first ever Hell in a Cell match, and that match introduced The Undertaker's little brother Kane, while also making Shawn Michaels the number 1 contender for the WWF belt. Shawn's match would happen in Montreal, and I don't need to go into detail on that one, I don't think. And all this can get traced back to the final moments of SummerSlam 1997. Many people would say that the Attitude Era began when Shawn hit the dead man with that steel chair, and I definitely believe that things would have been a lot different in WWF had that match not taken place. But let's not forget that the Hart vs Taker match is actually pretty good too from bell to bell, much better than their Royal Rumble 96 encounter. Elsewhere on the card, fans got a great opener with Mankind and Triple H battling it out inside a steel cage. Goldust defeated Brian Pillman, and therefore Mr. Pillman had to wear a dress on TV. And there's also a well-documented IC title match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart, a match that had a shocking ending when Owen Hart dropped Austin on his head when performing a piledriver, another moment that would have big ramifications moving forward. 1997's always been my favourite year in WWF. It's a fascinating time period when the company would experiment with new ideas and concepts before going completely crazy with the Attitude Era. There's a lot of gold to be found when searching through the 1997 WWF video library, and SummerSlam 1997 ranks up there as one of the company's best shows of the year. At number 4 with 320 votes, it's SummerSlam 2000 coming from Raleigh, North Carolina. Another jam-packed edition of SummerSlam that has a lot of show-stealing performances. You've got a fun 6-man tag opener featuring Too Cool and The Right to Censor. There's Eddie Guerrero teaming up with Chyna to take on Val Venus and Trish Stratus. Our main man, Steve motherfucking Blackman, taking on Shane McMahon in a memorable hardcore match. And then SummerSlam 2000 gets really good with an excellent 2 out of 3 falls match pitting Chris Benoit against Chris Jericho. From there, fans get treated to the first ever WWF Tables, Ladders and Chairs match featuring Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Every one of these guys took years off their careers when they wrestled these kind of matchups, and the inaugural TLC match is no exception. The bar was set ridiculously high right out the gate, and the match is nothing but an absolute spectacle. TLC still holds up very, very well today, and the match still keeps you on the edge of your seat when you know what spots are coming up next. Even after TLC, SummerSlam still has plenty to offer. There's another Kane vs Undertaker showdown at the event, a no disqualification match that ends with the Undertaker taking Kane's mask off. Kane felt he was unable to continue afterwards and he ran back up the entranceway. Finally, the show ends with a triple threat WWF Championship match, The Rock defending against Triple H and Kurt Angle. It's a pretty different triple threat match that had to follow an entertaining set of matches at SummerSlam 2000, but it's still good and the crowd got sent home very happy. For those who didn't really enjoy WrestleMania 2000, and for those who felt Mania 2000 was a bit messy in terms of the multi-man match bookings, SummerSlam 2000's a great alternative. There's lots of variety in this one, and it's one of those shows you can put on and enjoy from start to end. 329 votes came in for SummerSlam 1998, Highway to Hell, again taking place in Madison Square Garden. SummerSlam 98 is third on our list of greatest SummerSlam events ever, according to you, and yeah, this is a great pay-per-view event. I recently covered this one for Reliving the War and I had an absolute blast watching it again and looking at the event in a bit more detail, but I'll repeat what I said in my review video right here. If you're gonna watch SummerSlam 98, it's a good idea to also watch Sunday Night Heat before the event starts, and it's also a good idea to watch an original pay-per-view version of the show and not the WWE Network version. It's an absolute sin that AC/DC's Highway to Hell and the hype videos that featured the song were removed from streaming services. SummerSlam 98's another event that doesn't let up. There's a good opener with Val Venus taking on D'Lo Brown, a good X-Pac vs Jeff Jarrett hair versus hair match, and you get to see Sable and her mystery partner Edge taking on Mark Mero and Jacqueline, one of those matches that shows how popular Sable was at the time. You also get to see what happens to poor Mick Foley when he has to defend the Tag Team Championships all on his own against the New Age Outlaws. SummerSlam 98 also features a ladder match, the first ladder match in WWF since SummerSlam 1995. It's The Rock vs Triple H. Many people consider this SummerSlam as the night Rocky became a superstar. Fans in the Garden chanted his name as he and Triple H went to war, and even in defeat, The Rock came out of the ladder match looking like $1 million, leading the WWF to realize that they had a true main event superstar on their hands. In the main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin defended his WWF Championship against The Undertaker. The story between these two had dominated WWF's main event scene for months, and fans were unsure if The Undertaker was going to use his rekindled relationship with his little brother to get an advantage, but the dead man went one-on-one with Austin and there was no interference. Unfortunately, the Rattlesnake got legit knocked out early in the match and he had to spend the remainder of the bout trying to recover. It's a match that Austin said he wasn't particularly fond of, but it really isn't all that bad. It's still pretty entertaining, and it also feels unpredictable as the main event continues on. I said before that SummerSlam 98 is one of my favourite pay-per-view events of that year, and it's great to see that many of you guys feel the same way. You can't go wrong with this one really, so check it out if you haven't done so already. Or, cheap plug, you can watch my review of SummerSlam 98. Alright, I think at this point you guys know the final two, but you might be unsure which one came out on top. If you think SummerSlam 92 from Wembley got ranked as the greatest SummerSlam of all time, then you're wrong. 531 responses came in for SummerSlam 92, and that means it came in at second place. For many people, when they think of SummerSlam, they think of the 1992 edition, and it's pretty crazy that an international pay-per-view like this is what many people default to when thinking of one of WWF or WWE's Big Four shows. For UK fans, the old Wembley was more than just a stadium, it was truly a landmark, a place where the biggest artists came to perform and where fans would gather to watch the FA Cup final every year or other big sporting events. So having the WWF come over to put on a legitimate pay-per-view event felt really big at the time. During this time period, the company weren't doing as well as what they once did financially. Wrestling was still popular in the United States, but in Europe it was white hot. So the company made the decision to bring SummerSlam to the historic Wembley Stadium in hopes of attracting fans from all over the continent. The show was a huge success. Wrestling matches played out in front of fans who only witnessed these larger-than-life superstars on their TV screens. So the audience that attended SummerSlam 92 were very, very enthusiastic, including this little girl right here.
The British Bulldog's gonna win, whether he wants to or not.
Fans got treated to 11 matches in total, but 3 of those matches did not get included in the official US release of the show. The UK videotape version included every match. Recently though, a Blu-ray was released to mark the WWE's return to the UK with their Clash of the Castle event, and this release contains every match in the best quality possible. So again, it's a case of avoiding the WWE Network and Peacock versions of this show and looking out for the correct home media versions. The missing matches are nothing special, by the way. You've got Jim Duggan and the Bushwhackers against the Mountie and the Nasty Boys. There's also a Papa Shango versus Tito Santana match. And finally, there's a Tatanka versus Berserker match that was actually the semi-main event for fans in attendance. If you want to see the whole show from start to end, then you gotta ignore the versions WWE's uploaded to their streaming services. Highlights of this SummerSlam include the Legion of Doom making their entrances on motorbikes before taking on Money Incorporated. You've got a Rick Martel versus Shawn Michaels match that some people rip into, but I think it's fun. The men had an agreement where they weren't allowed to punch each other in the face, although that ended up going right out the window. The Ultimate Warrior took on WWF champion Randy Savage. You've got The Undertaker making a grand entrance too before his match with Kamala. And then you've got the main event, an Intercontinental Championship match featuring Bret Hart defending his title against Davey Boy Smith. I covered this match in full on my channel, but in short, Davey wasn't in the best place personally for what would become the biggest moment of his whole career. Bret wrote in his book that the Bulldog was absolutely out of it and he forgot the match they'd planned the moment he stepped in the ring. So it's an absolute testament to Bret Hart's in-ring abilities that the match received so much praise. The Hitman had to remind Davey about each and every spot, resulting in Bret pulling off more chin locks than Davey because Bret had to communicate quite a lot with his partner. There were a few dodgy moments in the match, including this plancha that could have ended in disaster, but by and large the match went without a hitch, and like Hart vs Perfect, it's considered one of the greatest IC title matches of all time. The Bulldog defeated Bret to give fans in the UK a reason to celebrate. Bret said that the Bulldog felt that this was his crowning moment, but it was really Bret's big moment. The work he put into the match didn't go unnoticed, and later in 1992 the Hitman would end up defeating Ric Flair for the WWF Championship. Gonna be honest, and I'm probably gonna piss people off here, but as a whole, I think you can do much better than SummerSlam 92 from an in-ring perspective. Bulldog vs Bret is good, Martel vs Michaels is good, but it's got that stipulation where the men have to be a bit more careful. Warrior vs Savage is okay, I guess, and the rest ranges from average to below average, in my opinion. I think seeing SummerSlam in Wembley and seeing the WWF produce a show overseas is the big draw here though. It's definitely one of the most unique SummerSlam events of all time, and it's one of the most historic wrestling shows of all time. At number 1, it's SummerSlam 2002 with 1,007 votes. This was also my choice. Coming from Uniondale, New York on the 25th of August, SummerSlam 2002 does not have a bad match. Everything's good to excellent, and it's an event you can watch multiple times without ever getting tired of it. It's an absolutely legendary show. The amount of talent in the undercard is ridiculous. Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio's the opener. This is followed up by Chris Jericho versus Ric Flair. From there, you go straight to Edge versus Eddie Guerrero, and you still aren't even at the halfway point of the show yet. The Un-Americans versus Booker T and Goldust is probably my least favourite match on this card, but it even feels wrong saying that because it's still a very, very good bout. It's just up against some stiff competition because somehow the WWF booked this show to perfection. Rob Van Dam and Chris Benoit have a brilliant match that goes just beyond 15 minutes, and it could have easily slotted in nicely as the show's semi-main event. Truly an underrated contest between these two. And then a patriotic Undertaker defeated the Un-American Test in a match that pleased fans in the audience. The show stealer though was the unsanctioned street fight featuring a returning Shawn Michaels taking on his old clique buddy Triple H. HBK was considered one of the greatest performers of the 90s, and many were unsure how he would perform after a 4.5-year absence, but he and Triple H put on an outstanding and gripping match that I still rank up there as one of my favourite matches of all time. The uncertainty of Shawn Michaels was what made this so compelling at the time. Fans who grew up watching Michaels knew how good he was, and sometimes when a superstar makes a comeback, they just aren't the same as before. Shawn, however, was able to alter his style slightly, and this resulted not only in a great SummerSlam match, but also a very successful second full-time run that many believe was better than the first. Brock Lesnar defeated The Rock in the main event. Lesnar had been tearing through the WWE ever since his debut, and fans were ready to see Brock at the very top of the food chain. The Rock, meanwhile, got a pretty harsh reaction from the audience, seeing as many knew he was going away to make movies. And after the show ended, Rock declared that Sing Along with The Rock was now over. I've no doubt that many of you have already seen Triple H vs HBK and Rock vs Brock, but make sure you check out the other matches at this show too, because it has a lot to offer. A third of the whole vote can't be wrong. So stick this one on and enjoy it from start to end. I do agree that it's the greatest SummerSlam event of all time. Thank you to everyone who took the time to vote in today's video. I know it can be annoying getting links sent to your feed, but you guys are giving me good stuff to work with, and it's clear that you guys know your stuff. In comparison to the top 10 on Cage Match, once again I think our list blows theirs away. Some events appear twice, but the order that we voted in I think makes a lot more sense. So again, thank you for voting. Maybe we'll try this again with a WCW event next, maybe Starrcade or Halloween Havoc. So if you'd like to get involved, please keep an eye on my community page on YouTube or follow me on Twitter at Wrestling Bios. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and please take care.